when she came to try to evade the subpoena by coming in and speaking to us not under oath, but we're going to keep this fight up.
I got it. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Summer Lee, representing Pennsylvania's 12th Congressional District. And listen, my colleagues have really laid it out. But what we've been seeing has been a consistent theme, not just since last August, when our ranking member Garcia and I were able to help to secure the initial subpoena to actually bring in the DOJ to release all of the files to our committee, but it has been an ongoing theme here. What we just witnessed from Pam Bondi, what she demonstrated was the fact that they believe and that they are an unaccountable DOJ that's running cover for and protecting an unaccountable president and administration. But the real problem is that while we might expect Donald Trump to move in this way, someone who has himself been named in these files, we shouldn't expect that Chairman Comer, that our Congress, that Republicans here, sorry to make it political, but those folks who do have the power to actually use what influence, what tools we have with the United States Congress to actually bring about some justice right now, and to allow her to continually evade justice, to evade questions as we've seen today, is a continuation of the indignity that they've inflicted upon our survivors, the indignity they've inflicted upon the American population, who have continuously had to watch an unaccountable justice system, a two-tiered justice system in our country, and people all over the world who are looking to see if the United States will get their shit together. And the reality is that they are refusing to do that. Every step of this last year that we've gone through this process, which is, as we know, simply a renewed process here, because survivors have been fighting for justice for decades now. But since the Congress has taken up this particular fight in the ways that we've been able to by being able to press for subpoenas, we've seen over and over and over an unwillingness of power to be accountable to people, an unwillingness of our Congress to be a co-equal branch of government with the presidency, with the executive branch, and truly an unwillingness for us to actually demonstrate that we are willing to put women, children, and survivors first. So right now, what we want to do and what we're committed to doing is continuing to keep the main story, that justice doesn't have a time limit. And no matter how much Comer or Bondi or Blanche or Trump or whoever else fights back against the truth coming out, that this fight will continue, that we will not relent until every single person who has been impacted, not just by Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, but everyone who's being covered up or hidden, and the fouls are in people's personal knowledge that they won't share truthfully with us, and whether they're unofficial transcripts or real depositions on the record. That it's important that they recognize that not only will the oversight Dems, but also the American people will not back down. The survivors have not and will not back down. And it's important that we continue to keep this pressure on them and remind them that legally binding subpoenas must be answered. So right now, Pam Bondi is in non-compliance with 2 for herself. And we have to keep putting our pressure on them. And we'll continue to do that. I will hand it over now to Rep. Supermanium.
Thank you. I just want to talk about the survivors for a second. Thank you so much for your words. They're here today. They were with us in Palm Beach a few weeks ago when we had a hearing there. And they've asked the Department of Justice repeatedly to meet with them. They've asked repeatedly to release certain files to them, at least, such as their witness statements. And so we asked Pam Bondi about that today. She said it wouldn't be appropriate to meet with them for some reason. She said she doesn't recall anything about them asking for their witness statements. She's forgotten all about all of their requests, even their public letters. It seems as though she was ignoring survivors this whole time, which is pretty astounding to me. So I also asked her pretty basic questions about whether she knew about any effort to look for Donald Trump's name in the files before they were released, and she says she doesn't recall. And so I think it wasn't that long ago before they were releasing the files, yet somehow she doesn't recall things that happened about 6 months ago. And then finally, going back to Ghislaine Maxwell, she said she wasn't involved at all in the process of moving her to another prison, but she wasn't sure if that new prison was even a lower security prison, which factually it is. She also thinks that the Bureau of Prisons is doing a great job. And she said that these things happen all the time because you want to protect some of these folks in prison. Well, that's true, but we really need to protect Ghislaine Maxwell right after she just talked to Todd Blanche about the Epstein files. Seemed too coincidental, but again, she doesn't recall a lot of other things. It was a really unimpressive, disappointing interview today, but not surprising to us. We're not going to stop our investigation. Now I'm going to hand it over to Yasmin Ansari.
Thank you. Today's ridiculous charade has made astonishingly clear that the United States Department of Justice has been weaponized by Donald Trump to ensure that the most massive cover-up in American history is carried out. And this is being enabled by Republicans in Congress, led by Republican Chairman James Comer and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. This entire Epstein investigation, led by Chairman Comer, has been absurd. We have 2 legal subpoenas against former Attorney General Pam Bondi. She is supposed to be here under oath today on video, answering questions for the American people about her role and the direct hand that she had in this cover-up. Instead, she is deflecting, she is refusing to answer questions, and she continues to refuse to answer specific questions about the President of the United States. It is so clear that whether it be Pam Bondi, whether it be Chairman Comer, whether it be Mike Johnson, the entire party is terrified of Donald Trump and his retaliation as it pertains to the cover-up of the Epstein files. It's unacceptable. It is notable that she continues to blame Todd Blanche and Kash Patel. We, of course, want to speak to them, but I think what I want to make clear to the American public and to everybody, and to the survivors especially, is that we are not going to give up on this. I think Republicans believe that they just kind of carry out these nonsense transcribed interviews and don't show up here today, that we will forget about this. We are just getting started as it pertains to accountability and justice for the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and any other rich and powerful person in this country who perpetrated these crimes. I'm going to hand it over to Congressman Min.
Thank you very much. Congressman Dave Min out of California 47. And yes, I have an election in 4 days, a very important one. Robert Garcia and I have our primary elections on Tuesday of next week. But I'm here rather than in my district because this is important. We looked the survivors in the eye last year and made a promise to them that we would try to find justice, find transparency. Republicans also looked these women in the eye and did not follow through. It's a shame that James Comer is the only Republican here today because this is the biggest cover-up in history. This should not be a partisan issue. Now, as a former law professor, as a lawyer, I just want to note a couple things that struck out to me. One, the fact that she is appearing as a voluntary witness today, voluntary interview, is important because she is claiming that she's not complying with the subpoena. She's claiming the subpoena doesn't apply to her because she's no longer with the Department of Justice. But at the same time, as has been noted, you have 2 DOJ attorneys in there. If it's a personal interview voluntarily done, why is the DOJ so heavily involved? It doesn't make any sense unless you think about it as a cover-up. The second point I want to make, we got a pretty important insight today into the flimsy basis on which they're not turning over 3 million documents right now. They claimed earlier that Pam Bondi claimed that documents that were related to any decisions to prosecute or not prosecute were being withheld. That is all the witness interviews. It's all the evidence gathered by the FBI. There's a reason we don't have the smoking guns. We don't have the video evidence. We don't have the witness interviews because they're claiming that's all privileged. And that is a bunch of bullshit, pardon my language. Any lawyer will tell you that our subpoena, whether it's the oversight subpoena or the Epstein Files Transparency Act, specifically applies to these types of documents. We don't have the real information here because they're claiming it's all privileged. And that is something that we need to get to the bottom of. This, I think, actually exposed a lot of what they're doing right now. We need those documents. This should give us the basis to overturn them. And I'll just echo what everyone else is saying in there. It's a sham in there. They are not answering any questions. And with that, I want to turn it over to my friend, James Walkinshaw from Virginia.
There's a terrible and tragic irony at play this week because behind these closed doors, the Department of Justice is continuing to cover up and stonewall the courageous Epstein survivors like Liz here. At the same time, the same Department of Justice, led by Harmeet Dillon and others, Todd Blanche, has launched an investigation into E. Jean Carroll and those who supported her successful legal effort that found Donald Trump liable of sexual assault. So the message to survivors of sexual assault from this administration and this Department of Justice, sadly, is quite clear this week. I want to share one piece of information, one question that the former Attorney General did answer. She was asked specifically about Donald Trump, President Trump's awareness of Epstein's crimes before they became public knowledge. She had the opportunity to say Donald Trump certainly wasn't aware of those crimes. She had the opportunity to say, I know Donald Trump, and if he was aware of those crimes, he would have done something. Instead, she said, I don't know. She also said, quote, this is a direct quote, I'm not certain of the extent of his knowledge. I think that's a perfect example as to why we need Pam Bondi under oath in a real deposition for the camera so the American people can see and hear her answers to our questions for themselves. I'll turn it over to the ranking member.
Well, a couple of questions, and we're going to go. It's continuing, so we got to keep going. So, a couple of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member. So, is your next step to try to subpoena Todd Blanche to compel his testimony, and if so, do you have the votes?
Well, the request is going in today to Chairman Comer to have Todd Blanche come in. It's clear that after this testimony, that is where a lot of the information is, and so we're going to, if he doesn't do it, we're going to force a subpoena and try to get votes, but he's got to come in.
Kash Patel's name was also mentioned. Will there be a subpoena for him as well?
Kash Patel is number 2 on the list. So Kash Patel was also, multiple times that we had questions about the FBI, the way the files were redacted, why redactions were done so messy, and why there was doxing that happened in certain cases, survivors. The finger was pointed back at Kash Patel, and so we have questions for Kash Patel as well. Yes.
Can you characterize a little bit more the Justice Department's intervention? Did AG Dillon take the lead on that? How many times did they intervene? And can you speak a little bit to?
Well, first let's be really clear. It's bizarre that the DOJ is also, someone from the DOJ, a high-ranking official, is also acting now as personal counsel to Ms. Bondi. And so the fact that the DOJ is essentially stopping Ms. Bondi from answering questions and interjecting, particularly around President Trump, is incredibly concerning. And the fact that it's being allowed by Chairman Comer is also as concerning. She stopped Ms. Bondi multiple times from answering questions and interjected multiple times, especially as it related to President Trump. One last question.
What is Oversight Pan's next step to compel more release of the Epstein files?
Look, I think there are still 50% of the documents have not been released to the public or the Congress. We're going to continue to get those. That's breaking the law, the Transparency Act, and the subpoena. And of course, we have additional subpoena ideas on the way. We're going to go back in, guys. Thank you very much.
No. The cops were like, hey, when we start going, either be in this hall and then they'll trap you there, or you walk with us and give us room. So make sure you're in the yeah.
Yes, that's what I was told. He said we'll address the pool camera in a little bit. I told him that already. And now I don't care. Do what you want. Dance, have a party. Go for it. It's just not done shortly, period. Just waiting for coma to the rest of the
Stop.